Hey
All
guys,
right.
it's October already. My goodness, my goodness. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Well, welcome everybody to the October team meeting. And great to see so many of you here. And I know we have a lot to cram into 30 minutes, so let's go ahead and get started. With celebrations, we were, does anybody have anything to add before we throw it over to Carly? Carly was going to share her experience from New Directors Conference. Anybody else have anything they want to share? No? All right,
Go ahead,
Carly, looks
Carly.
like the
Okay.
floor is yours.
All right. Well, I'll try to be brief, but I just want to say that I am really excited for each one of you guys to be able to be there because it is definitely within the capability of every single member of our team to get there. Some of us take the shorter route and some of us take the longer route, and both of them are fine. You're all going to end up getting the same treatment no matter how you get there. I actually had told Francine, I said, man, there were a lot of people there that are a lot farther along in their business than I am. And there were like, what did I say, coordinators and senior coordinators and stuff like that. And Francine's like, well, those people didn't make it there in their first year. They've taken some time to get there. And I hadn't thought about that. And so, but yeah, Shackley actually paid to fly Alan and I, excuse me, both to San Francisco and then also Pleasanton. Met a lot of great people along the way. And then they spoiled us rotten with with the gifts and events and something special in our rooms every night. And we got to tour the labs and talk with. We had one of the scientists that kind of walked us through, and then we talked with a couple of them at the end and got to ask a lot of questions. And just it was really cool to just be able to kind of break down that process of how they go through. There's a whole lot of back and forth you don't realize happens, and so that was really neat. Got a wonderful dinner at Rogers Vineyard, which was really beautiful. So wine tasting and dinner there. But I think probably, and motivational speaker, after they walked us in, I guess when Francine had been, they were housed, their hotel was a ways away from the Shackley headquarters, so they actually had to be bussed in every day, but we were just about a block and a half away where we had to stay. And so we walked over, and you could hear from 2 blocks away the music that was just thumping that very first morning from Shackley, and it was all for us. And then Francina told me about it, but it's really true. Like everybody that's there at work, except the receptionist and some of their family, there were some kids and stuff, are lined up down each side of the green carpet, and they introduce you and high five and cheer for you as you come in and are welcomed into the Shackley corporate office for the first time. So that was super cool. We also got a fantastic launch event basically into it with Brian Biro. He is a fantastic motivational speaker. If you're ever at anything that lists him as a speaker, you'll be very blessed by him. So really encouraging. Alan, I think, really enjoyed that. And when we were all done, we all got to break 1-inch boards with our hands. So breaking through one of our obstacles, for me, it was self-doubt, and it took me 3 times. So there you go. See, self-doubt. Wasn't sure I could do it. So anyway, but I did it. But I think one of my favorite parts of it was just the fact that you got to speak with personally and have a lot of one-on-one attention from a lot of our executives. Heather Chastain, Kevin Crandall. We got to, of course, meet Roger Barnett in person, Roger Hill, and then Jim. I just went blank. Rapport, who's our sales speaker representative for my, with those of us that are in leadership but on the lower ranks, but also got to spend a lot of time with Robbie Carter, who actually handles key coordinators and above, and get to speak a lot with him and make plans to mentor with him a little bit, and attempt to learn. I don't know that I really learned, but got to speak also with Kristen Cunningham, who's our technology guru there, or our social media guru. So just really, really got a lot of one-on-one attention, and he's sitting down having breakfast with these people and picking their brains and getting to know them. So it was a fantastic experience. You all need to have it, and you all can do it. So I just look forward to hearing, about your trips when you get to go. They're all kind of similar, but none of them are going to be the same. So we'll all have our own experiences, but it was a lot of fun. So
Awesome. That's great, Carly. Thank you. Yeah, your pictures were awesome. I think we were all tuned to the screen the whole time you were gone.
Oh,
So, all right. Does anybody have any questions for Carly about anything about that? Anything you wondered about? Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure she'll share if you do have something you want to talk to her about.
yes.
So, well, the next is product highlights, and I'm just going to go over real quickly a little bit about Vitalizer. So I know you all are familiar with Vitalizer or Vitalizer strips, and especially since the Prove It Challenge is such a hot commodity right now, that's one of the products in the Prove It Challenge. But so I know you guys know what's in there. A couple of things that I think sometimes I know I forget. We hear so much about the Landmark study, which was the initial 20-year study that was done by the University of California at Berkeley, which then resulted in the Vitalizer strips, because the people who were taking supplements during that study were taking everything in that strip. So they made it easier for us by putting it all together in one product, and also putting a technology, so to speak, in it where it has 24-hour action when you take those vitamins in those strips. For instance, you could buy the Vitaly multivitamin by itself, but you're really supposed to take that a couple times during the day, so you have the 24-hour coverage, where the Vitalizer strip you swallow once and you're good for the day. So that's awesome. But so in addition to that 20-year study, which I don't know if you guys have looked at much research, it's not the funnest thing in the world to do, but if you just have some time to Google longitudinal studies, there are not a lot out there, because for one thing, they're super expensive. And then you have to find willing participants, to be agreeable to being tested during that period of time. And we're testing biomarkers. So these people were giving blood regularly and, having to go to the doctor. So, it's a commitment. And so it's awesome that the University of California, Berkeley found people to do that. Also, since it was a third-party study, it wasn't a Shaklee design study. We had to sign off on some paperwork with them saying that no matter what they found, whether it was pro-Shaklee or anti-Shaklee, it was going to be published. And Roger Barnett said, do it. And it came out, as we know, it came out, where this is something that really can improve our health. So, but it's a gamble when you do a third-party study like that, but we felt so confident that we were good to go. And that 20-year study, that Landmark 1 study, that was just one of the studies done around that product. There's 12 other clinical studies that were done about Vitalizer too. So slew of research. If you run across somebody who is real scientifically minded or has more questions about that, we can access all that information. So now the Landmark 2 study has been completed, and that was another 10-year longitudinal study. So the first one was 20 years, this was 10 years. And we got to hear some of the results at Global, and with stuff like people who regularly took the Shaklee Vitalizer strip, they had better biomarkers with their heart health, and their cholesterol levels, were lower. My very favorite was that people who were taking that consistently were on less prescription medications than the general population, which there's so many side effects from medication, especially when they're co-prescribed and you've got all this stuff in your system. So that's a win in my book. And anyway, those findings are going to be released sometime this fall. So you can find bits and pieces of them. There is a short video on Shaklee TV that talks about it if you want to start sharing that, but then you'll be able to get your hands on the results. I'm sure it'll be very nicely done. Shaklee always does kind of like research findings for dummies, so we can all understand it, and our customers can understand it and such too. So that will be coming. We'll share that with you, or you guys can share it with us whenever you see it.
Francine, didn't they, with that additional 10 years, didn't they also test with adding in the protein, how they responded differently, adding in the life shake? Did I
Oh,
understand
I
that
don't know.
correctly? For some
I'm not
reason, I was
sure.
thinking at Global that's what they had said, that they were kind of like, okay, so what happens when you add the protein, and now when you take it away, and the
Mm-hmm.
different things. So I'm thinking that
Mm-hmm.
that was part of why they decided to go with the Prove It Challenge.
Yeah, that would make sense, but I don't know. I
But
didn't catch that.
I can't remember. So I'm excited to see the rest of that
Yeah,
technology, but it would be really nice to have that additional backing behind the pick.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then of course you guys too. Those of you who are newer, that's an approved prenatal, postnatal too. So it's a great thing.
So, Charlene, was it a 20-year, or was it the people had to have been on Shaklee for 20 years?
The first one was a 20-year study. They actually
Okay.
followed them for 20 years.
Oh,
And then it was
wow.
10
Yeah.
more years.
But you had to be on the products for over 20 years. Like, I wouldn't have qualified to be in that study.
The original one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just kind of interesting. It had to be people that were older and on the products for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
which is,
Well, yeah, which is even more
we have a
astounding
captive
because
audience.
they
Yeah.
have, and they have, when you get older, a lot of times you develop more illnesses. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
All right. Awesome. Okay. Business highlight. Who was that? Oh, Becky, that's you, but you're muted.
I thought we had Kari next for personal
Oh,
development.
sorry. Oh, okay.
That's
Sorry,
okay.
I am so sorry.
You are so
I write
fine.
things down in the wrong order.
I actually had it in your order too, but
Oh.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So personal development. So when you guys asked me to do this, I took some time to really think about it. And personal development doesn't mean just for our Shaklee business. I think it really incorporates into our daily life as well, how we relate to people, our family, friends.
Mm-hmm.
And one word that kept on popping up, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, is podcast. So I made a decision earlier in the year to stop watching the news in the morning. And I get up and I have my quiet time and, just kind of get things done with the house. It's quiet. And then I tune into a podcast, and more often than not, it's a personal development one. Not necessarily from a business coach or a health coach or a life coach or something, but it's just something like it's a nugget that I can improve my, just who I am as a person. And so like, there's some like that pop into my mind that are more driven for business, personal development. And of course it's Rachel Hollis, Mel Robbins. Of course, we just saw her, Brandon Bouchard, Brian Spiro. I mean, he probably was the most impactful person that I had listened to live and did the breaking of the boards and the breakthrough. That's still, I mean, I think about that every day and how that impacted me. So I would encourage everybody to try and find a podcast to listen to. Some are, 15 minutes, some can be, over that, but just taking little nuggets and applying them to your life and to your business. The other thing is, I learned from Francine is, you talk to yourself in a positive way. My name is Kari. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a Christian. I'm a key coordinator. So like when you start talking to yourself about what your dream self is talking to yourself about, things eventually become, you can do those truth statements along in there with your dream statements. The other thing that I use on a daily basis is no does not mean no. To me, it means actually not now. And it's okay if people say no, like you kind of just let it roll off your back. Easier said than done, but the more you practice it, the more it's like, okay, well, they're missing out, aren't they? And we're in a society that's bombarded with health and wellness, and things are taking a change for the better. And we're part of that. We're all part of that. And we're all educating everybody that we talk to. But my encouragement about that is if someone says no, move on. Move on to the next person, because the information that we have is vital. I like to think of it as offering someone a piece of gum. They either want it or they don't. They either want fresh breath or they don't want fresh breath. You know, but you plant those little seeds and sprinkle them in, and people, like I've had many people come back around, sometimes 1, 2, 3 years later. Let's see. And then there like a book recommendation I would have is Miracle Morning. And that author is Hale Elrod. And one last tip is, like a podcast, put it in your ears and go for a walk or do whatever around your house or taking a drive. There's also Audible through Amazon, and there's also the Kindle app, which sometimes books are $1.99 or less, and that can be Audible as well.
What was the book name again and the author's name?
Miracle Morning
Miracle Morning.
by Hale Elrod. And then, of course, Rachel Hollis's books and Brendan's book. I don't know, does Brian Biro have a book? I don't know. Mel Robbins has a book.
Mm-hmm.
So
Brian has a book. It's really good too. It'd be a good one
Okay.
too for guys, because he has a lot of sports references.
mhm,
But even if you don't like sports,
sure.
I mean, it's very entertaining. He writes just as well as he speaks.
Yeah. And, we're not, like, when people do say no, they're not saying no to us personally. A lot of times we take it personal because we believe so much in the products and healthy lifestyle that we're living. And I think back to when there was a 8-year gap between my first order and my second order. So, you have to come around and allow people to come around too.
Mhm.
Yep.
So good, Kari. And I love that you have kind of all modes there. If you're visual, if you're an auditory person. So
Yep.
that's excellent. For my part, I'm going to share my screen. And we just want to show you, some of you are old hat at sponsoring people, but I just want to show you again how this works. So on your dashboard screen in the Member Center, you have this big green button that says sponsor somebody. So we're going to click on that. And you would say if you're signing up a preferred member or a distributor, here's this whole part for the Prove It Challenge that's important. If it's my friend and I'm signing them up, my name is going to be here on both of these lines. If it is someone that has referred somebody else, that let's say it's a member of mine that has referred somebody, then I can change this and put their name in there. And you can just start typing somebody's name, and it will give you your choices of who that person is. But you definitely want them to be the placement sponsor, and you are the original sponsor. And in the Prove It Challenge method of payment, the original sponsor is the one that gets that $25 thing. And then now for me, in this case with Vicki, I've chosen that it's going to get paid to me, but then I'll pay Vicki that $25 as a thank you for referring somebody. But you can do this here. And I oftentimes will, and then if you go next, it's just going to show you how to put their order in. I'll show you what it looks like. It's telling you some things on here. But I do prefer to sign up members the first time myself, but some people, we all know some people are like, no, I'll do it. And so then they would go to your member center, or not your member center, your website. And if you don't have a website, then you can order for them. But if they want to do it on their own, they can do it at your own website, and then they would choose all the choices there. And you can always change that placement and original sponsor information within 30 days with no charge with Shaklee. And if you're not sure about that, you can always ask your upline. They can help you with that. So anyway, that is my part.
I just have a quick comment on that.
Yeah.
Like Becky, you said that you try to do the signing up,
Mhm.
and that is such a good idea, because then you can hit access for us. So in the
Yes.
future, you don't have to have that member go in and okay the access and all that. It's already there, and we can go in and order on their behalf. I love that ability.
I think it's really great. And I am surprised. Now, I know I'm older than several of you, but I probably order for like 30% of my people. And they just kind of, even though today's society is a click and go, I have so many people that their click and go is they want to text me what they want. And then,
Yep.
and that's fine. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
totally great with it.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to be placed correctly and I'm going to be able to check all the boxes for them to get the discounts. But I
Yep.
just want some people, like younger people, may be surprised by that. They're like, oh, I would think everybody would go online themselves. So I just want you to know it doesn't always happen like
Yeah.
that.
And there is a benefit in some ways to ordering for people, because we know they may miss or ignore specials that are out there.
Right.
They may, if you notice that they're going through a product rather quickly, that we could offer, well, what do you think about getting the 700 count bottle of alfalfa this time? And just little things we can be aware of, what they're ordering, how to better serve them, and also the sales portion of it. We do this as a business, so being able to increase the size of the order, in way of PV for you, so you have that opportunity when you have hands-on with it. So
Yep.
try
Good
not
point.
to think of it as a burden, but rather an opportunity to
Absolutely
better serve your customer and better serve your business.
So I wanted to ask Becky and Francine, or when I've signed people up, of course, sometimes they have to come up with a password right away. Does yours do that too? So how do you handle that?
I just make up a password for them, like their name and 1, 2, 3 or something.
Okay.
And then they can always change it.
Okay.
Because the first time they log on, they have to click on forgot password anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know for new people too, because initially I was like, oh gosh, what do you want your password to do? And then I then you know it. And
right.
Then people
Let
are
me
kind
have
of
your
like,
private
well,
password.
Can I have your credit card number? So
Yeah. So I guess I
Exactly.
didn't know that. I would always do Shackley and their house number.
Oh, that's
And then
a good
I
idea.
would send them their email address, the member number, and then what the password is. I didn't realize that they had to change it. And I say, this can be changed anytime.
Yeah.
They
don't have to change it. They don't have to
have
change
to.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. Okay. Because never mind. Good.
They don't want you to use Shackley in your password, right? So they.
Oh, I don't know.
So they probably want you to change it to something,
I think that's your email. I think they don't want it in the email.
Well, when you're setting them up, you really got to have them on the phone or whatever anyway, because you got to put in their credit card information.
Yeah.
Some people send it in a text to me, which is crazy, but that's how they prefer.
Yeah.
I had so many people, they're almost like they're so secretive about it that they don't want to order at all. Like, where I'm like, okay, I can do this for you, but I need your name and your address and your credit card information. And I had a really good successful phone call, but every other buddy, they were like, well, is there any way that you can just order it for me and I can just pay you back? And I'm like, no.
Mariah, good for you, because that can be a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the beginning, I was like, well, they are local and all that. Well, guess what? Then they think, oh, you did that last time, you're going to do that again. And then sometimes, I mean, when we were a young family, it was like, I couldn't cover $120 or something for somebody else.
I can't do either. I can barely afford my own 150. Okay. So
I appreciate you saying that. It's a really good thing to just say no. And then if you have a website, then we can tell them to go to your website, because they can put it in then.
Yeah.
Yep.
And some people were like, oh, well, but you can't do it for me. Like, they want you to do it for you.
But they don't want to give you information.
But they don't want to give you your credit card information.
Well,
I'm like,
it's
that
just
doesn't
like
work like
if
that.
they wanted, if they asked you to go to Walmart for them, they would give you money to go to Walmart.
Exactly.
You're not going to buy them groceries. Yeah.
So it's funny. But
and you can say, well, it's if I have your credit card, then the benefit is it gets drop shipped to your house and you get it right away. I mean, oftentimes people will order, and I mean, I don't deliver anymore, and I don't recommend people do that, because you get really in a trap where you're running across town for somebody for like a basic age, it's crazy.
Right.
And so, so I just, if you present it as this is an opportunity for you to, you know,
That's
be
what I
able to.
said. I was like,
Yeah.
if I do it for you, but you give me your information, it can go straight to your house.
Good
I don't
for
have
you.
to bring it to you. And then they're like, oh, well, okay, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're.
And I always share, Shackley's never had a breach ever, and they've been in business for 64 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Percent part
yeah,
is these
it's
are the same
amazing.
people that have their they have their stuff out there with Amazon and every other thing that online. But anyway, but it's good that you keep your foot solid. You need to protect you first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have one lady who wants me to order for her, and she doesn't want to use her credit card for some reason. Well, it's been hacked a whole bunch of times, not by Shackley, but but I will order for, and she'll place huge orders. They're like $300 and $400 orders. But I have a Venmo account, and so the rule is she needs to Venmo me the money first, and then I'll place the order for her.
That's a good idea.
That's
Now,
goes up
I did
immediately.
try PayPal in the very beginning, but it didn't really go over very well because even though PayPal advertises that it's free for family and friends, it does charge a fee for them to accept the money. And so if they sent me the money, I also had to pay a fee. And so it really wasn't working out. But if Venmo does that, Francine?
Venmo is free.
It is free.
Yeah. And
That might be
PayPal,
nice.
if you push the family and friends, then it's free.
Then it's
'Cause
free.
Laura,
I don't know.
Laura
I was
told me
having
about
some-
that, and I was like, what?
Yeah. If you hit business, it's a certain percentage, but the
Yeah, it was
family
pretty
friends is free.
confusing, and that's when I just started
Yeah.
not paying for it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's something too, like if it goes to your debit, when you're depositing, you can put it to your debit card for free, but it's a percentage if it goes to your credit card. So
Yeah.
Venmo is all free.
Yeah.
So that might be a
And
good
Cash
option.
App is too. Cash App is free. You have to wait for it like 2 days, but I mean, it's usually in there the next day, which is nice.
Nice.
Cash App. Yeah.
We are so high tech. My goodness.
I know, right?
All right. Well, speaking of money, our Money Matters section is going to be something about taxes. So next month, you guys, Susan Rolling is going to come on. She's actually moving tonight. They sold their house. Yay. So yeah. So she has this really cool Excel spreadsheet for keeping track. So she's going to share that next month. But this month, I just wanted to tell you, if you haven't started doing this yet, this is a good time because I have waited until April and it is not pleasant. So, and this is really great too. Even if you decide not to file, if this is a new business, you decide not to file taxes on it this year, if you haven't made over $600, you don't have to. This is still a good practice just to get in the swing of it. So, okay, super easy. You'll get a packing slip, in each of your packages, or you could also print your order confirmation off the site. And I always make 3 categories. I make a shipping and handling category, a business category, and advertising category on the sheet itself. So shipping, you just look at whatever they charge you for shipping. That is 100% tax deductible. So if you paid $13.14 on shipping, you're going to write down $13.14. Then I go through and I look at all the products we've ordered. If it's something that we're ordering for the first time, I put a B next to it. If it's something that I've given out as samples, even if it's a Life Shake that I'm using for breakfast every morning, but my next door neighbor wanted to taste the pumpkin and I give her, a spoonful of the pumpkin, that still becomes a business expense. And then of course, anything that you buy for door prizes or to use at any events that you have, giveaways, if you're doing a vendor event, any of that, those are all obviously business expenses. That is all 100% tax deductible as well. So go through and add those up and put that number next to your business column. So everything that you have left over is, you can take 33% of that for taxes, according to our tax guy. I always, just kind of, you might want to, if you have somebody who does your taxes, you might want to ask them if they think that's fair. But several of us who've done this for years have got the okay from tax people. So anyway, just figure out 33% of the remaining, and you could write that down. And you will be amazed at how much of what you spend each order can be come back to you at tax time. It makes a big difference. So if you need to find your 1099, again, it will be issued to you if you've made over $600. But to find it, you just go to your business page, you click on Me, and underneath your name, and it'll say like what your rank is and blah, blah, blah. It will have like the spot where you could click to see your monthly bonus statements, and there will also be a link there for your 1099s. So you could click on that to find it as well.
And I would just say sample, 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 sample everything. Sample as many things as you can.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason that it's called advertising is that we would not be able to promote our products had we not tried them. And so that's why we call it advertising. And it's a huge piece that allows us to be able to, I mean, this is why people want home businesses. You know, it's one of the tax advantages.
Yeah. And my accountant confirmed the same thing. In fact, 33%. And it's because we want to see how the products are used over time too. If you just take them once and get results, you can write it off. But I mean, it shows that we're advertising, our skin's looking better and better, and on, kind of the landmark study results.
Yeah.
So
yeah, awesome. So anyway, that's just a real quick version, but it's
awesome.
I think it's fun to see how much of that gets eaten up. Yeah. So, all right. Well, the last category is upcoming events. So everybody have pen and paper because there's a bunch of stuff going on.
I hope I got everything. So chime in if I've missed things.
Yeah.
So let's see. On the 9th, which is just this Wednesday, there's a 15-minute Prove It Challenge Spotlight event, and it's on team transformation. If you're interested in attending that or inviting people to it, you do need to just ask for an invitation, and then Francine will send you an invitation, and once you accept it, you can invite people to it. But it's a really great opportunity if there's people that you've been talking to it about and you just want them to have a little bit more information, and since it's only 15 minutes, that's really helpful. Then, of course, right now we have the entire month of October, the Generation Me Facebook event going on. I would encourage you guys, she's so cute, Artria. I would encourage you guys to spend time on there, comment. There's not been a lot of activity, which I'm just as guilty. I have, I sometimes get a little hard to juggle, but write it down and see if you can go on, just a couple times even during the week and kind of make comments. Make sure that you're inviting people or following up on people you have invited. I did notice today that I was trying to see, since we have that $1 donation for each of our people that attend, I was trying to look at the members, and I could see the picture of several of my people, but I couldn't find them on the member list because I wanted a count of how much I owed. And so I don't know what's going on with the members, the member list there, girls, if we need to check that out. But anyway, that's going on. There's also the Prove It for Life page, which our team is doing. It replaced our reset. We used to do the reset the third week of every month, and now we just kind of have a running page called Prove It for Life, which just helps support people going through the Prove It Challenge and then just in their healthy pursuits. So that gets a few new posts every week. And again, pop on and make comments, and be sure to add your people when they do the PIC. Add them to that page, as well as the Shaklee Prove It Challenge page. The 29th, Barb is doing a hormone talk. Obviously, mostly for ladies. I'm not sure any guys are going to want to show up for that one. So, I mean, I guess if they want to. But anyway, so that's going to be the 29th at, is it 7 o'clock? I think is her time for that. So if you go on the Lagoni page, she's already got her Zoom link up for that. So you can start talking and sharing with people about it. Of course, it's great with it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's a good thing to talk about. And then definitely mark your calendars now. We haven't got all of the details or all the confirmations that we need, but we want to be prepared on our side. November 7th and 8th, which is a Thursday, Friday. Heather Chastain, the plan is that she will be in Columbia doing an event, doing some training and motivation. So the evening of the 7th will be, there is a fee for people who are already in Shaklee. So Shaklee Distributors, it's $40. But the really great thing is you can invite and bring friends or people you think might be interested in Shaklee, in the business and our philosophies. You can bring as many of them along for free as you would like. So that is a fantastic way to get people introduced to the business side of Shaklee. And Heather is a super great speaker, very encouraging, and you will love to hear her. So if you can carve out the time, carve out the $40 for November 7th, and then the 8th is a more targeted training opportunity for our team. So we would not invite anybody to that. That would just be come back down to Columbia on the 8th and do some more pointed training for those of us that are already in the business. So that's super cool. Have I missed anything, ladies?
Barb has added some health chats too. So on the 16th, there's going to be a health chat, and you could find the link. I'll put it on Team Transformation too. I'm sure Becky will put it on Team Choke, but it's on the Lagoni team. Anyway, the 16th is on joint health. She moved the hormones now to the 23rd.
Oh.
And the 29th is immune. So still an event, just she jostled some different things around. So
thank you.
So yeah, so all kinds of great stuff to invite people to. And that's just all we know about right now. There will be other things, I'm sure.
And we would love to encourage you guys, if you want to do events, you know, if you have an idea for one, share that. If you've never done it before, we're happy to find somebody that can help you get that arranged. Or if you think you want to forge ahead on your own, go right ahead and do that. Don't wait for us. Don't let us hold you back. So
yeah, for sure. All right, and then our next team meeting will be November 4th, Monday, November 4th at 7:30 Central. This panel.
Could I ask, is there something in particular that you guys would love covered next time? We usually plan and kind of pick some things we think would be interesting to you, but maybe there is something that you're like, you know, I want to talk more about blah, blah, blah. Anyway, think about that, and you can always let your upline know. So, great.